Right friends, welcome back to Banking Awareness. This is lecture number 17. We are going to discuss terminology, the difference between bridge loan and channel finance, then legal tender and velocity of money, the difference between debt and equity, secured loans and unsecured loans, the difference between insolvency and bankruptcy, and the difference between liquidation and liquidity. We are going to discuss these issues in detail with the schematic representation. First one is bridge loan. Normally, companies go for long-term loans for the requirements of establishing a company. Normally, they go for long-term loans. Corporate loans are normally long-term, but some cases may arise. That means when the cash flows are less, maybe their long-term loan may take some time to sanction. Under those circumstances, to meet their current obligations, to meet their immediate obligations for short duration, banks have got option to go to bridge loan. Bridge loan is a short-term loan taken by corporates, and there is other option for corporates. Corporates can issue commercial paper also. Not all corporates can issue commercial paper. Commercial paper can be issued by high-rated corporates only. So, the second option for corporates is by issuing commercial paper, they can borrow from market, and one more option is this, that is bridge loan. So, they have two options. One is bridge loan, second one is commercial paper. When they want short-term finance, when companies are in need of short-term finance, then bridge loan can be taken by them. So, bridge loan is basically for short gap, short duration loan, not more than 1 year. And please don't forget, commercial paper time period is also 1 year. So, for short duration, companies have got option to go for bridge loan or for commercial paper, right? So, bridge loan is a short duration loan. Channel finance. What is meant by channel finance? Many times we hear about channel finance. I have taken this illustration. Please look into this. This Maruti Suzuki factory is there in Manesar. Manesar is in Haryana, near Delhi. Maruti Suzuki has got its factory in Manesar, and let us assume a situation. Manesar Maruti Suzuki factory has sent 1000 cars to the dealer Varun Motors in Hyderabad. Maruti Suzuki has sent 1000 cars to Varun Motors in Hyderabad. Varun Motors Hyderabad has to sell these 1000 cars to get the money back, because he has to pay to Manesar factory. And in the meanwhile, this Varun Motors Hyderabad can get finance from some bank, let us assume State Bank of India. So, the dealers against the inventory, if they are getting finance, that is channel finance. The dealers for short duration, if they get finance against the inventory, in this case 1000 cars are with him, when he get finance from State Bank of India, this is a channel finance. That means Manesar factory sent 1000 cars to Hyderabad dealer, and Hyderabad dealer will take some time to sell them. Before that, as a stopgap arrangement, this Varun Motors Hyderabad will take loan from State Bank of India, which is known as channel finance. So, channel finance is accessed by dealers of reputed companies. Right friends? Look into the next one, legal tender. What is legal tender? All of you are using 10 rupee note, 100 rupee note, 500 rupee note. Can anyone say no for accepting that note? You have taken 500 rupees note to a shop, you purchased something. Can he say no for accepting that? No one in this country can reject for day-to-day transactions. that is a legal tender. That means all the currency notes, coins, these are a legal tender. That means this is a medium of payment recognized by law of the land. That's why all the persons in day-to-day transactions have to accept this. They can say no when the note is not authentic or when the note is counterfeit, then only they cannot accept. Otherwise, everyone is bound to accept the currency notes and coins as per the law of the land. That's why all the currency notes and coins are called legal tender. So, in every country, national currency is the legal tender. Please don't forget. Velocity of money. Velocity of money. Let us take this illustration. A person X on 1st January has withdrawn 1000 rupees from State Bank of India. A person X withdrawn 1000 rupees on January 1st from State Bank of India. On 3rd January, he went to Kirana shop, he purchased some grocery and he gave that 1000 rupee note to the Kirana shop owner. And after 5 days, this Kirana shop owner, by taking that 1000 rupee note, went to bookshop to purchase books to his daughter. And the bookshop owner, after another 4 days, went to cloth shop and by giving that 1000 rupee note, he purchased a saree for his wife. And subsequently, the cloth shop owner with his family went to a restaurant after 10 days and had dinner in the restaurant by spending 1000 rupees. And after 9 days, this restaurant owner deposited 1000 rupees in his account in State Bank of India. Within a month, how many times this 1000 rupee note changed hands? From State Bank of India, again before coming back to State Bank of India, this 1000 rupee note had 4 transactions, and the rate at which money is being exchanged from one transaction to another is the velocity of money. The rate at which money is exchanged from one transaction to another is the velocity of money, right? Debt and equity. Many times you come across debt and equity. And please don't confuse between creditor and debtor. I have told you in the last class, if you are depositing money with SBI, you are the creditor, SBI is the debtor. If you are taking loan from SBI, you are the debtor and SBI is the creditor. But this debt and equity is different. This debt and equity are the terms associated with the capital market. And let us look at Reliance Industries Limited, for example. And a person X purchased shares worth rupees 1000 of Reliance Industries Limited. A person X purchased shares worth rupees 1000 from Reliance Industries. That means he invested in the shares of Reliance Industries. He became part owner of Reliance Industries Limited. He invested in equity. So, equity investments are nothing but the investments where the persons will become part owners in the company. So, person X, after investing in equity shares of Reliance Industries Limited, became part owner of Reliance Industries Limited. That is called equity investment. Look at person Y. Reliance Industries Limited released debentures and person Y invested in debentures. That means Reliance Industries Limited, by selling debentures, is borrowing money from the public. It is the borrowing of money. Person Y invested in debentures. He cannot become part owner. Person Y gave loan to Reliance Industries, because of which he will get some interest from Reliance Industries. Person X invested in equity shares. He will get dividend. Person Y invested in debentures. He will get interest. So, equity is becoming part ownership in a company, and if you invest in equity, you will become part owner, and in turn, if the company is in profits, you will get dividends. And if you give loan to a company, you will get interest. For giving loan to a company, you can invest in either debentures or bonds. Debentures, bonds are known as debt instruments. So, this is the basic difference between equity and debt. If you are investing in the shares of a company, you will become equity holder, and if you are giving loan to a company, you will be investing in the debt instrument of the company. And the difference between debentures and bonds. Bonds are normally issued by government companies or sometimes private companies with security, and debentures are issued without security, and the risk element in debentures will be slightly high in comparison to bonds. But as the risk element is less in bonds, bonds command less interest and debentures command more interest. Please do not forget this: debentures and bonds are debt instruments, right? Secured loan. Look at this case. Borrower X approached State Bank of India for loan. Borrower X approached State Bank of India for loan. State Bank of India asked for collateral security. If I am giving you loan, State Bank of India asked the borrower X, if I am giving you the loan, what is the guarantee that you will pay back? And to show as guarantee, show me some collateral security. Then the borrower X will give his building as collateral security. So, when collateral security is given, that loan is called secured loan. And here some property, it may be building, it may be land, whatever it is, it will be given as security, and it is a secured loan, and lender will have a lien over that property. What is meant by lien? Lien means if the borrower X failed to service the loan, failed to pay back to State Bank of India, then State Bank of India will have right over that building, that is the lien. As the collateral security is there, the interest rate will be less, right? So, this is secured loan. The next one is unsecured loan. Borrower Y approached State Bank of India and he got loan without any collateral security, maybe because of his credit worthiness, maybe because of his past transactions with the bank. When the bank is granting loan without collateral security, that is risky from the banker's point of view, and sometimes it is known as signature loan also, right? And no collateral, risky from the lender's perspective. It is given based on the credit worthiness of the borrower and also called signature loan. Interest rate will be high, and credit card transactions, credit card advances, personal loans are the examples of unsecured loans. That's why please remember, the interest rates on credit card advances beyond the grace period will be very high, and similarly the interest rates on personal loans will also be higher than other secured loans. Please remember one fundamental point: the interest rates on unsecured loans will be higher than interest rates on secured loans. Look at the next one, insolvency. You assume a person X or a company XXX. A person X or company XXX. Any one of them you assume, that is your choice, and they have taken either person or company. Let us assume a company. Company has taken lot of loans from the market, and its assets like buildings, maybe company has got some gold deposits, and its total assets are less than the total liabilities. Several people have given loans to the company. The total assets of the company are much less in comparison to total liabilities of the company. Under those circumstances, the company may not be able to pay back to the lenders, and in such a case, the state is being called insolvency. That means state of not being able to pay back its liabilities or condition of having more debts than total assets. Assets are much less in comparison to total liabilities, and when they are not in a position to pay to the creditors, then it is the case of insolvency. Look at the bankruptcy. When it is declared by the law of the land, it is a bankruptcy. Insolvency, if it is declared by court of law, by the authority who is legally entitled for declaring him as bankrupt, then the state is bankruptcy. So there is a slight difference between insolvency and bankruptcy. Insolvency is the state where the person or company is not able to pay back to their creditors, but bankruptcy is the status of a person or company that it cannot repay debts due to its creditors, and the status is declared by the authority who is empowered to declare the company or person as bankrupt. Right? Look at the liquidation. The company is declared as bankrupt. Then what is the next process? Next process is to liquidate the assets of the company. That means selling the assets of the company and paying back to the creditors. So please differentiate between these three. One is insolvency, second one is bankruptcy, third one is liquidation. Right? Insolvency is the state, bankruptcy is the condition when it is declared by the authorized person, and third one is once the company is declared as bankrupt, then the next process is to liquidate the assets of the company. Liquidation means process by which a company is brought to an end, and the assets of the company will be sold and redistributed among the creditors, and sometimes this liquidation process is undertaken with the intervention through a court of law. Look at the last one, liquidity. Liquidity is basically the extent of assets which can be converted into cash form without much loss of value. If you look at currency notes, 100% liquid. If you look at your savings bank account, it is also 100% liquid. At any time you want, you can withdraw. If you look at your fixed deposit, it is somewhat nearer to liquidity because of the reason with the minimum loss of value, you can get money from the bank. And similarly, gold is also considered as liquid asset. Without much loss of value, you can sell gold. So 100% liquid is currency notes, savings bank accounts. Closer to 100% liquidity or near liquidity, you can say gold or your fixed deposit accounts, and totally non-liquid is your real estate, having a big residential building. If you want to sell it, you cannot sell immediately. If you want to sell immediately, there may be loss of value. If the cost of the building is rupees 1 crore, somebody may ask for 50 lakhs or 60 lakhs if you want to sell it immediately. So, buildings, real estate is non-liquid, and liquid assets, I have told you, currency notes or savings bank accounts are 100% liquid. Please differentiate between liquidation and liquid assets. Both are entirely different. Right friends, let us conclude here. Please do join for 18th module. Probably we are going to discuss about Reserve Bank of India. Have a nice day. Thank you.